NTA, you can't beat the reach.
I am God's greatest work.
Heaven is mine, and I shall ascend above all.
The finals of the Men and Women African Cup of Nations. It's always frenetic. On days such as this, there are no tribes, no religion. Here, Nigerian warriors are out to represent, to show the skills that makes us the best. On days like this, the color is one, the color is green. When we get the job done, it is because we have stuck together. When we celebrate, we stand together. Nigerians, united in victory. We are Nigerians. We are one.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the Star Times platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on
Hello. Food production requires application of fertilizer, but insufficient supply of this catalyst in the farm input supply chain is a matter needing attention. And that's our concern tonight as I welcome you to another edition of News, Views and Analysis. You can always be Weekend File. Good evening and welcome to the program. Fertilizer usage in Nigeria on the average is put at 20 kg per hectare, significantly low when compared to the use of over 100 kg per hectare in some other countries. Apparently, the low capacity of Nigeria in the production of fertilizer many decades forced government to rely heavily on importation of this core agricultural input. So, the low fertilizer usage on soils in Nigeria, huge demand and high retail price that is not even within the reach of many rural farmers. Nigeria is known to have major raw materials for fertilizer production, including calcium carbonate, clay, ammonia gas, phosphoric acid, and phosphate powder. One of the issues to be raised in tonight's edition of Weekend File is why is the nation lagging behind in fertilizer production? The only primary producer of urea, a nitrogen-based fertilizer in the country, is the notorious chemical industries at One near Port Harcourt, which commenced production at commercial quantity of ammonia and granular urea in 2010 with 5,000 metric tons per annum, considered by experts as inadequate. On Weekend File tonight, therefore, we will feel the pulse of specialists on the way forward towards attaining sufficient local production of fertilizer. Plus, phosphate mining, which experts say modern agriculture is relying on for phosphorus, a critical element in the fertilizer industry. Thank you for your choice to stay with us tonight on your weekend companion. My name is Kirian Umayo. The news is up ahead. The present administration is poised to entrench the culture of accountability, transparency, and purposeful leadership in Nigeria for the country to make its pride of place in the community of nations. President Buhari said this at the convocation of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State. Represented by Deputy Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Professor Chinedu Mafiana, the president urged university administrators to entrench the culture of change in their students and staff for them to key into government's vision. He said the government came up with a program tagged Education for Change with clear strategy to take education to the next level in the country, adding that the government will continue to place the sector in the front burner.
And beacons of knowledge should be at the vanguard of the change by this administration for attitudinal change. The change mantra of our administration can only be meaningful and positively impacting if we individually and collectively place priority on doing what is right and honorable at all times.
He advised the FOTA authority to make sure that the first-class graduates are not left to roam the streets, stressing that they should be employed by the institution. The former Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, was conferred with honorary doctorate degree of Science and Management of the institution with the rights and privileges attached.
To be successful in life, be honest, have integrity, be simple. Simplicity is the best thing you can ever have in your life. Whatsoever you have set your heart to do, close your ears, pray to God, be focused, and achieve it.
4,000 graduates were bestowed with university degrees during the 28th convocation ceremony. Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union has expressed concern for government to give more attention to the plight of the colleges. President of the association, Comrade Emmanuel Asara, who briefed newsmen in Abuja, says the appalling state of learning resources in the colleges, the non-implementation of promotion and non-payment of promotion arrears, as well as shortfalls in personnel grants since 2015 are lingering issues. While appealing to some state governments to address the welfare concerns of their employees, the union urged the federal government to intervene in alleged impunity by some provosts.
Who attended a polytechnic and obtained a HND from that polytechnic and went ahead to study to have a PGD, and after a PGD sought admission in a university and got himself admitted to do a master's program. After attending and getting a master's program, a master's degree, he went ahead and got a PhD, and he is being asked by the provost of that college to go back and run a first degree to be qualified for promotion. And this is something we must not tolerate. It is important that as we speak now, this degree of impunity, even to be promoted from one level to the other, and somebody is saying he cannot be promoted.
The union also urged the federal government to urgently address the lingering issues to avoid distortion of the academic calendar in colleges of education in Nigeria. Still on education, in the wake of the closure of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, the school authority has resolved that students should now resume in batches to continue with academic activities. Dauda Mohammed reports that the decision followed the compulsory midterm break given to the students after disruption of academic activities resulting from death of a student.
The decision taken by the management of the Federal University of Technology, Minna, to proceed on a mid-semester break became necessary after students of the institution went on rampage following the death of Yeye Emmanuel Onalekon, a 300-level student of the Department of Chemistry Education, School of Science Technology Education. During the demonstration, the aggrieved students burnt down a section of the clinic. Equipment, generating set and drugs. Other buildings vandalized include one female hostel, the Senate building, an ATM machine, and the bakery section of the institution's ventures, as well as 9 private vehicles and some school buses. Their return is, however, in phases, with the postgraduate students expected to resume on Saturday, 18th March 2017, while academic activities for them continue Tuesday, March 21. Saturday, 25th March is slated for the resumption of 400-level students with their first semester examinations scheduled to take off Tuesday, 28th March, while 500-level students are expected to resume Wednesday, 5th April, and commence first semester examination on the 7th of April.
We cannot bring students in to use laboratory without window. The temporary clinic cannot handle 8,000 students at a time. So we saw that it would be unwise to bring all of them in.
100, 200, and 300 level students are all expected to resume Tuesday, 18th April, to start the first semester examination Friday, 21st April. In Mina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has urged state governments to grant tariff and tax incentives to operators in the steel sector to enhance industrialization in the country. Dr. Fayemi made the appeal in Abuja at a town hall meeting organized by his ministry for stakeholders in the mining sector. Akim Jimo has that report.
While addressing the gathering, Dr. Fayemi stated that diversification of the nation's economy was not achievable without paying much attention on the mining sector. He said the potentials that abound in the sector, if adequately tapped, are so enormous to take the country out of the present economic situation.
The self-sufficiency in cement production and opportunities for export as well. What is even more interesting is the additional opportunity that coal has created.
While calling on the stakeholders to create an enabling environment for the sector to thrive, the minister promised that the ministry will soon begin the disbursement of the federal government's intervention fund through the appropriate quarters. He identified inadequate finance, lack of up-to-date statistics, proliferation of illegal miners, double taxation, and bottlenecks involved before getting the consent of host communities as some of the challenges confronting operators. On his part, the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosun, stated that the meeting was apt, promising that government would continue to support the miners.
This will allow us to come up with more practical and improved recommendations that will further promote the development of mining as a viable alternative to oil.
Other speakers assured that the future of the sector was bright, adding that the state had become a destination point for local and foreign investors. The minister and his entourage thereafter embarked on facility tour of some mining sites owned by some cement manufacturing companies domiciled in the state, where the management of the organizations promised to continue to partner with government at all levels to make the sector more viable. From Ewekoro in Ogun State, Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
Over 30,000 farmers in Nasarawa State are to be engaged in sugarcane plantation and processing, which is expected to produce 480,000 tons of sugarcane for domestic consumption yearly, in line with the federal government's drive to revamp the sector. Governor Omar Tanko Makora says 40,000 hectares of land have been provided for the project, which will be the biggest plantation in West Africa. Joshua Ojito has more on that.
Research shows that Nigeria is one of the largest consumers of sugar in Africa, with a consumption capacity of 1.5 million tons, but still depend on importation in spite of huge potential for sugarcane production in the country. With a quest to diversify the economy with particular focus on agriculture, National State government is keying into the federal government diversification drive to woo foreign and local investors to invest in areas of comparative advantage. One of such crops that the state has comparative advantage is sugarcane, and already a team of investors have indicated interest to cultivate sugarcane plantation in Tunga, Awe local government area of the state, expected to produce 480,000 tons of sugar, which represents 27% of the nation's consumption.
So the revenue of the government will increase, and there will be quite a lot of activities.
It is in our own interest to ensure that we jealously guide and guard this initiative.
This is in addition to generating 96 megawatts of electricity for consumption in the state. The sugarcane plantation and refinery will create 30,000 jobs, while 10,000 outgrowers will be supported with seedlings and farm implements. Meanwhile, foreign investors have been visiting the state in recent times, indicating interest to explore agricultural potentials of the state in order to boost food production as well as create jobs. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Normalcy has returned to some communities in Shiroro and Rafi local government areas of Niger State following the arrest of 300 suspected armed bandits. The arrest, which brought about the recovery of weapons and cattle, is as a result of joint security operation in the area. Momsu Damian Dati has an update.
Criminal activities and incessant attacks on some communities in Niger State sent natives fleeing their home base to neighboring towns for safer havens. The worst hit of these communities, Alawa, whose district head was killed, among other persons, leaving the town a shadow of itself, has now returned to life, with the presence of women and children now noticeable, shops opened and schools reopened.
The coming of the security have helped tremendously in combating this crime.
While the communities are now free to ply the roads and do their businesses without constant fear, some major challenges are still glaring.
Had it been we have the network, we communicate to the security easily.
Now we don't have any problem for road, but immediately you go inside bush, to now there with somebody will face problem.
Briefing NTA News on the level of success recorded so far, the Niger State Police Command disclosed that about 306 suspected armed bandits have been arrested, with over 1,500 cattle and 86 sheep recovered, amongst others.
We have recovered 11 AK-47 rifles with a total of 982 rounds of live ammunition. We have also recovered 33 single-barrel guns with 249 cartridges, 1 SMG rifle with 6 rounds of ammunition, 5 locally made pistols, 2 revolver pistols, 6 Ghana-made pistols, 2 double-barrel, 9 den gun.
The legal department of the Niger State Police Command and the State Ministry of Justice are working closely to ensure timely prosecution of the suspects. From Alawa in Shirodo local government area of Niger State, Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
Now, there's something you need to know about the city of Kano. Experts have cautioned that Kano, the commercial nerve center of the north, is at the risk of losing its next generation to drugs if something is not done quickly to check the high rate of drug abuse, which is said to have reached a record all-time high. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports that the menace has exploded into streets, schools, homes, and every corner of the city's civilization.
Kano, the leading commercial center in West Africa, is today leading in drug abuse. The increasing number of youth abusing drugs and other narcotic substances in the Asian city is giving sleepless nights to all. Statistics show that about 37% of youth population in Kano are using non-conventional drugs. This is a sight every parent dare not to see. This 24-year-old school dropout whose life is spiraling out of control is on a path of destruction. So is 22-year-old Abba and his friend who dropped out of university due to drug abuse. They are now in the rehabilitation center at NDLEA Kano, which gives them the opportunity to retrospect on several wasted years of their lives. What do you take?
I take codeine syrup.
So now what is happening to your school? Are you in school?
Well, I was in school, but I'm out of the school. I came here myself.
Oh, you came here yourself?
Yes, I talked to my parents about the rehab and stuff because I couldn't control myself any longer, and I thought I should stop because it's high time.
There are some of these drugs that are not controlled by us. Like most of them will confess to you there isn't solution. As you can see, this is part of what we get from them.
Between 2016 and 2017, 44 tons of hard drugs were confiscated, 857 arrests made, and many convictions secured by NDLEA. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
And worried about the increasing rate of drug abuse among youths, Taraba State government has put in place measures to tackle the menace. Joseph Zanas Gambo's report on a sensitization workshop with strategic focus on making them responsible partners in nation building.
The two-day sensitization workshop on strategic focus in building a society free from substance abuse was in association with Hope Afresh Foundation, the pet project of wife of the state governor, Anna Darius Ishaku. It started with road shows and rallies to the Taraba State University, Government Day Secondary School Mao Dasa, and culminated at the Jalingo Main Motor Park. The state deputy governor, Haruna Manu, while declaring the two-day workshop open, commended the governor's wife for personally spearheading what he termed as aggressive campaign against the use of illicit drugs by youth, which according to him forms the most productive segment of the society.
And we are ready at the executive
to support you so that we can enact a bill.
And this fight honestly belongs to all of us. If we want it to succeed, all of us will have to bring something to the table.
Several papers were presented by resource persons during the workshop in Jalingo. Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
The federal government and well-meaning individuals and groups have been urged to give proper attention to the IDPs in and around the FCT to give them a pride of place. This was said when the Ghana High Commission and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees paid a visit to the Durumi IDP camp in the FCT. Oyeyemi Ajayi was there for us.
Way the internally displaced persons at the Durumi Area 1 camp appreciate their visitors. To them, the visit by the Ghana High Commission to Nigeria and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, is a great honor. Congratulating Ghana for our 60th independence anniversary, the coordinator of the IDP camp, Idris Ibrahim Aliyu, pleaded with the visitors as well as the Nigerian government to help them with more teachers for proper education of their children.
Firstly, we want our kids who are so traumatized to also have the benefit of being educated. So we have no teachers, and in the area of medication too.
So this is not the first time. We've done it before in 2014, and we're doing it in 2017. It tells you that it's a continuous kind of support that we'll continue to lend to our Nigerian brethren.
Making donations like these are, well, they are necessary, but they are not the best solution. The best solution is to ensure that the situation of refugees doesn't happen at all in the first place.
We do recognize efforts of the federal government in terms of military offensive. Some areas, most of the LGAs today have been liberated. But in terms of humanitarian response, we still need to do a lot of things.
In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The legacy left behind by the military governor of the defunct Western region, General Adeyinka Adebayo, will always serve as a reference point for political leadership in the country. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said this after paying a condolence visit on the family of late General Adeyinka Adebayo in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports. We also lost the audio of that report coming from Lagos. And now to the next story for tonight. Final burial rites of passage for Dr. Samuel Ogbemudia have been held in Benin, Edo State. Former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, was among dignitaries at the service held at the stadium named in honor of the former military governor of the defunct Bendel State. Ahmed Abdulkadri reports.
The interdenominational service at Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium for late Dr. Samuel Ogbemudia was jointly coordinated by the Christian Association of Nigeria, Edo and Delta States. The state burial fulfilled all spiritual rites.
Behold, I show you a mystery.
Tributes were presented by dignitaries including former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, and national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, as well as past and present governors of Edo and Delta states.
I consider him a friend and a brother.
Here lies the remains of a gallant officer who fought many battles of life and won, as well as defended the indivisibility of this country. The remains of the late Brigadier General has since been committed to Mother Heart. In Benin, Edo State, Muhammad Abdelkadri, NTA News.
You are watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. You can watch this news live online via NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device, at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Now, in 2006, the National Fertilizer Policy for Nigeria was adopted, including fertilizer production policy, domestic marketing policy, international trade, quality control, and environmental policy. However, due to the huge and complex nature of the fertilizer industry, the impact of the national policy is hardly felt by the stakeholders, who also think that it is becoming difficult for government alone to control the industry efficiently in a country where about 70% of its population are engaged in small, medium, and large-scale farming and other agro-related businesses. So stay with us tonight for a closer look at fertilizer production in Nigeria, local content, and the correlation between phosphate mining and fertilizer production. This is Weekend File, and I will return with more on the show after this time out.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok schoolgirl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
All right, when the kings of African comedy gather under one roof,
there's only one outcome. Then we bring down the roof.
Come witness the craziest.
The what again, sorry?
I'm the funniest.
No, I'm the funniest.
Oh my God!
I'm the baddest of them all.
Laughter will scatter your brain well.
Come watch the biggest names in African comedy at Glow Laughter Fest. Basketmouth, Bovi, I Go Die, Sheyi Law, Gordons, Salvador, Osama, Bash, Kenny Black, and many more.
You will never have a bigger gathering of jaw-dropping, head-busting, rib-cracking comedians under one roof.
To win a free ticket, use 3,000 Naira in a month and text LOL and your preferred location to 240.
Glow Laughter Fest.
Laugh go kill you down.
True.
The largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list. Starting now. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Gioni M6, always in power.
The Senate committee investigating the alleged underreported misuse and under-remittance of internally generated revenue and other related matters invites the public to its inauguration and public hearing. Date, Wednesday, 22nd March 2017. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, Senate Conference Room 231. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Senator Abubakar Bukola Saraki, President, Senate, Federal Republic of Nigeria. All federal government agencies and institutions are to check Daily Trust and Vanguard newspapers on Monday, 20th March 2017. For further details, call 0806-5706-976. Senator Olamilekun Solomon Adiola Yayi, Chairman, Announcer.
Feet are stomping and the jam is pumping. Look at the crowd is jumping. Pump up your jam and push up your hand. You know, say me fans them plenty like sun. Jump up and dance, make them understand. Say me energy could have never be contraband. No matter what life throws at me, I can handle it constantly. All of my fans them invited. DJ, make my day.
Make my day. Make my day. Make my day.
crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com.
You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956.
Jade's Hotels, welcome to life.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships, and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Welcome back. Fertilizer is one of the most important and significant agricultural inputs after seeds, which farmers depend on for increased yield. In spite of this, however, availability and utilization of the input remains a challenge in Nigeria. In this report, Musa Babali takes a look at the demand and supply as well as the utilization of fertilizer in Nigeria.
Inputs, especially fertilizer, are essential for satisfactory crop growth and critical to agricultural activities, especially in soil-degraded areas with low rainfall. Assessing the input has over the years been a source of concern to smallholder farmers. Apart from the scarcity of the product, high cost of the input is also a major challenge. Investigations show that an average farmer applies a minimum of 20 kilograms of fertilizer per hectare against the standard of 100 to 200 kilograms per hectare depending on the type of crop. Agriculturists believe that the more fertilizer employed in growing crops, the higher the yield.
Currently, Nigeria has one of the lowest rates of fertilizer application. And if you don't apply the right quantity from the onset, it affects your yield at the end of the day.
Steps taken by previous administrations to ensure that farmers, especially the smallholder ones, access the fertilizer at ease and at cheaper rate were undermined by corruption, smuggling, and diversion through the activities of middlemen.
We've had fertilizer before in bags of 35 kg. People have sold ashes and all kinds of chaff in the name of fertilizer, cheating farmers.
This also led to the collapse of almost all the indigenous blending plants in the country. In December 2016, Nigerian government and that of Morocco signed an agreement on the supply of phosphates, a major material for fertilizer production. Another agreement was also reached with local producers of the commodity on the production and supply of fertilizer at 5,500 naira.
We must thank Mr. President for the initiative as we are diversifying our economy, as we are looking at agriculture. The major input is fertilizer, and if this is handled, then the little addition on mechanization will follow.
So far, over 300,000 tons of the phosphate have arrived in the country, and 11 blending plants have commenced production in 7 states.
We have also made it possible to have a lot of employment back on course. We have refurbished our plant. We are now in the course of business, and we're achieving maximum production capacity. So to us, that is a profit.
The difference between the GS and this
is farmers can buy whatever quantity of fertilizer he wants to buy. He's not limited to $2. That's the advantage. And in terms of getting the price, he's getting the price, and government are saving 60 billion naira on this 1 million ton project.
MPK 2010 is the quality of the fertilizer being produced under the initiative based on the soil testing carried out by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Thank you, Musa, for that report. Now to Sokoto. Sokoto is the only state in northern Nigeria that is endowed with phosphate rock suitable for establishment of fertilizer production plant. In this report, Mohamed Nasir examines the prospects of phosphate utilization in this state.
Discovered in 1930 by the British Geological Surveyors, the Sokoto rock phosphate is currently available in 10 out of the 23 local government areas of the state. The 58% quality phosphate rock has very rich content of fertilizer and can provide the required amount for fertilizer farms in the state.
Some very long time ago, knowing well that there is a deposit of this rock phosphate, many of our colleagues, our senior colleagues, they have researched into the rock phosphate. We grinded them and applied them to some of the crops that we plant.
Currently, small-scale entrepreneurs and local farmers engage in informal mining of the resources for use in farms and commercial purposes.
And I believe phosphate fertilizer, if established in Sokoto, will actually augment the efforts of the federal government in providing the affordable fertilizer needs or in meeting the fertilizer needs of our farmers.
However, data estimate of Sokoto rock phosphate is yet to be ascertained, but government says it has engaged the World Bank and Nigeria Geological Survey Agency through Solid Mineral Intervention Fund.
We have the local manure, which is equally, because we are engaged into rearing of animals.
Similarly, the state government is engaging informal miners of phosphate into cluster groups to register and educate them with a view to enhancing their mining activities. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA WekendFile.
Agricultural experts are working towards minimizing the application of fertilizer in plantations of agricultural products. This they stated while speaking with our correspondent Ayomiku Ajibola from Ibadan.
Vegetable, fruit and crop plantation is one of the ways of achieving food sufficiency. The need for everyone to get involved in agricultural activities as a way of improving availability of necessary nutrients for consumption is part of the strategies this administration is applying. However, agricultural experts are gradually minimizing the application of fertilizer as part of ensuring production of agricultural products. Is it necessary to minimize or avoid fertilizer application in plantation of vegetable, fruits and crops? Dr. Abayomi Olaniyan is the acting executive director, National Horticultural Research Institute, NIHORT.
Using mineral fertilizer, there are some challenges, like the health hazard, even the destruction of the land. The environment is polluted, the water is polluted. There is no way that we can do without mineral fertilizer, but it has to be used judiciously. Just blanket application doesn't help the soil.
It is believed that the nation is richly blessed with natural resources for food production. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola reporting for WekendFile.
Let's think about the country first.
Well, over there they are looking towards minimizing the application of fertilizer. But in Kaduna State, farmers are applauding the presidential initiative on the production of fertilizer locally, describing it as something that will assist greatly in turning around the fortunes of agriculture in the country. Junior Ukweze is our guide here.
I mean, the urea now, about 9,200 per bag. Make this readily available for the common man. I have a very big farm, but you can see I always come to the market to buy. I don't even buy enough because I don't have enough to buy.
At the same with farm, so maybe they reduce the so that we will get power to farm. Because we come buy fertilizer 5,000. No say many farm we go do them, but without fertilizer farm cannot exist.
The setting up of presidential committee for the initiative, which was flagged off last month,
encourages local production of fertilizer to the tune of 4 million metric tons before June this year, at subsidized rates of 5,500 naira.
This initiative is for blenders to have enough raw materials to produce fertilizer locally that will suit our soil. Production is going around in 11 different blending plants in Nigeria in the phase 1. In phase 2, we'll incorporate more blending plants.
Are there envisaged challenges associated with this initiative?
We are supposed to finish this everything before June ending, and that is just the beginning of the rainy season. So I think it's a very good idea to start early. The only thing, there should be proper monitoring to avoid people hoarding. The farmer is supposed to buy this fertilizer at a price of 5,500. And anybody buying more than that, he should know that he is being cheated. And there is a telephone number on each bag that you should call to alert the authority.
In Kaduna State right now, one plant has a production capacity of 1,000 metric tons of fertilizer in one day. Other plants will soon commence operations as they have started receiving the raw materials. In Kaduna, Eugenia Ukweze, WekendFile.
Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar has assured Nigerians that the military is winning the war against insurgency and other security concerns. He said this during the Nigerian Air Force first quarter route march for 2017 as part of efforts to improve the physical and mental fitness of its personnel. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkrumah has that report.
Air Marshal Abubakar says the quarterly route march comprising 10 kilometers walk and 10 kilometers jog will be mandatory so as to ensure that each of its personnel covers 80 kilometers annually for alertness.
Why do we need to do this? Today's challenges are very complex and very complicated. It does not only require a sound mind to be able to identify these challenges, dissect them, analyze them, and come out with a solution, but it equally requires a sound body. And that is why we need a sound mind and in a sound body.
The exercise saw officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force serving in Abuja embark on a 10-kilometer walk from the Mogadishu cantonment to the gates of Niger Barracks at Sokoro.
We like to assure Nigerians that we continue to work around the clock to ensure that our societies are secure, our communities are safe, and Nigerians can go about their normal businesses without any fear or any hindrance.
Customary with such physical tasks, there were light muscle stretching before and after the walk. In Abuja, Isaac Nkrumah, NTA News.
And we still have more on WekendFile after this break.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC impacts upon everything we do, including water we drink, the food we eat. They are important organs to the development of this country. And everybody should come out and join them and support them and help them to achieve the greatest benefits and success that they need to record.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Thank you for staying with us up to this moment. Now with me in the studio is the Chief Liaison, Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, and member, Presidential Fertilizer Initiative Committee, Gideon Idoko Negedu. You're welcome to WekendFile.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. I'll begin by asking you to do an appraisal of fertilizer production, procurement, and distribution in Nigeria in the past decades. Actually, what has been the policy direction on fertilizer all these years?
Okay, thank you very much.
In the last 30 years, we have been more focused on the direct procurement approach. In 1997, Nigeria actually stopped the subsidy program on fertilizers. We revived it again in 2001 and had a policy on 25% subsidy at the federal for fertilizers in general. The famous Growth Enhancement Support Scheme was brought about in 2012 so that the private sector would take more of the driver's seat and ensure that there is more distribution around the country. All of these programs have had their own major successes and challenges as well. But the truth of it is that the Nigerian farmer has not been better off for it in terms of getting adequate quantity of the kind of fertilizers they will need to give us the kind of agricultural productivity that we are looking for.
Now, National Fertilizer Policy for the nation was adopted in 2006 to provide solution to the lingering, shady deals that is, not unconnected actually with the fertilizer industry. Now, what has changed since the adoption of the policy?
Well, since 2006, like I was making emphasis, in 2012, we have seen an increase in the participation of the private sector. A lot of the national fertilizer plants have been privatized. One of them you mentioned, which was Notori Chemicals, and I'd like to correct an impression. Notori is not the only urea-based fertilizer plant today. Thankfully, we also have the Indorama Group that have fully completed their plant. And
are they producing now?
They are producing now, and they are delivering in total about 360,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer under the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. More investment in that space is ongoing as we speak. The Dangote Group is investing. Also, what was called the Federal Superphosphate Fertilizer has also been privatized. It's owned by the Superphosphate Fertilizer Company of Nigeria. So yes, there is more inclusion as far as the private sector is concerned, both in the upstream, in the midstream, and the downstream sectors of this fertilizer space.
Are you satisfied with the level of fertilizer production in Nigeria?
No, we are not. Experts will argue that our potential demand will range between 6 to 8 million tons. Where we are currently, we have local production capacity of about 4 million tons. So we are very much deficient in where we should be as a country. But suffice to say, we're excited about the kind of investments that are coming into the space. Foreign investors are getting more confident to want to invest. Between 2012 to date, we've attracted about $5 billion in investment, especially in the urea fertilizer industry. But we jolly well welcome more investment in the space so that we could be more self-sufficient and self-sufficient in fertilizer production in Nigeria.
Now, as chairman of the Fertilizer Producers and the Suppliers Association of Nigeria, what should be done for Nigeria to actually engage in massive production of fertilizer, considering availability of the major raw materials?
Well, what can be done, I would like to start with what is being done now, because the federal government, working with organized private sector, FEPSAN, is encouraging the private sector to invest in the space. Like we've always said in the private sector, what we encourage is an enabling environment for us to be able to put in our money and get it out. So more can be done in that regard as far as the policy environment is concerned. More people are getting interested in investing.
Is the policy environment suitable for people to engage in the fertilizer production in Nigeria, especially local investors?
Yes, I would say so. I'm reiterating again, $5 billion at least has been attracted just to urea production alone. We haven't gone to the phosphate, which I saw you took time to emphasize on this evening. In both Sokoto and you omitted the Ogun State deposit. So, of course, the more investments can be had in this space, and as we do that, we become reasonably self-sufficient locally as far as fertilizer production is concerned.
Now, how would you like this issue of phosphate mining to play out in Nigeria with respect to what we can, respect to getting phosphorus?
Well, the superphosphate fertilizer company has about 150,000 metric tons capacity, but it's about the only phosphate plant today functioning in Nigeria, which is very sad. We think that more investment can be attracted in that space. Unfortunately, even the report we saw tonight, we didn't have enough data as to the work that had been done. So we think more exploration needs to be done as far as the phosphate deposits are concerned in this country. And more investments will come as the environment, the policy environment is more stable to attract investment into that space.
Now, low fertilizer usage on the soils in Nigeria is as a result of insufficient supply and, of course, huge demand. Now, let's talk about the prices. You know, where are the farmers getting it at? Is it at international price or domestic cost or negotiated cost?
Let me delve into what we're doing in the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which is one of its kind and very remarkable. We were able to get, through the intervention, of course, of the presidency in this, we're able to get raw materials at very good discounted rate, namely the DAP from Morocco. And as a result, the local blenders have been encouraged to blend and can blend to sell the final output at 5,000 naira, at 5,500 naira. So we think that more needs to be done to help the blenders in accessing these raw materials so that we can blend at cheaper prices.
But until date, farmers are still complaining of inaccessibility of, you know, the amount of fertilizer they need for their farms. It is still ongoing. As we, you know, 20 kg per hectare is low.
Yes, 20 kg per hectare is low. That's why under this arrangement, unlike what we had in the GES, the farmer is not restricted to just 2 bags. He can buy as many bags as he can afford, and the price is sufficiently reduced. The report you got from Kaduna was still recording prices as high as 9,000. Under this initiative, you're going to be getting for 5,500. So the farmer can access and actually buy more fertilizers and increase the amount of fertilizers he's using per hectare.
All right, thank you at this point, Gideon Idoko Negedu, for being part of our show tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And, of course, your submissions. I have been speaking with the Chief Liaison of the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, Gideon Idoko Negedu. Let's take another break. We'll return very shortly.
Not all washing powders are the same. Sunlight adds bursts of freshness to cleaning power to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and freshness that lasts and lasts and lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1, sensational cleaning with burst after burst of freshness.
It's finally here, the most anticipated sports show on live television, featuring great sports icons from ex-internationals to famed journalists and administrators. It doesn't come bigger than the Sports Parliament. Be a part of the biggest sports talk show on television to help chart a successful path for Nigerian sports. 11 p.m. to midnight on Thursday on the NTA. Sports Parliament, where the eggheads converge.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
And to sports now, newly elected CAF Executive Committee member and NFF president promises better days for Nigerian football as the 2016-2017 season of the Nigerian National League kicks off across the nation. These and more in Sports Update with Henry Ifium.
It was a rousing welcome for Nigeria's Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick as he arrived the country after beating the incumbent Benin Republic's Ayodele Ajori to a place in the CAF Executive Committee. He told newsmen in Lagos that the new look CAF will signal a more vibrant and beneficial era in Nigerian and African football.
Just to say a big thank you to the federal government for giving me that endorsement, which was the tonic I needed at that point, you know. But I can say that this is a win-win situation for African football, not just for Nigeria. Then as for Nigeria, of course I'm there. That's my primary constituency, and Nigeria will be a major beneficiary of my being in CAF.
You can be rest assured now that we have somebody who play the boardroom politics for the country. Israel to have done his best, but he did not favor Nigeria.
Pinnick, who will be the third Nigerian to occupy a seat in CAF's executive committee, will represent the West Africa Zone B on the committee. The 2016-2017 season of the Nigerian National League kicked off Saturday in different venues